So, this one's gonna be about feeling alone and not just maybe being depressed, maybe just not being in the best mood that you have ever been. And this is what we're going to talk about today. And I'm featuring a TED article here, so everything should be down in the description if you want to check it out on your own. But yeah, more after the intro. As always, more after the motherfucking intro. And with that being said, hello and welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics fucking podcast. And I'm pretty fucking pumped, even though the first episode that I was just recording, before was a little bit strange. I don't know why, but it just felt a little bit different. It just felt like strange, different, something else. I don't know. So, if you're not having the time, actually, which is something that I actually assume, I assume that you're not having the time to watch a 30-minute episode, me talking about feeling alone, feeling bad, feeling depressed and whatnot, then I would highly suggest you to go down into the description, and there's going to be the link to the podcast, because this is actually a podcast, which means that you can just listen to it, which means that it is a way more effective and way better way to consume this episode and then just watching this episode, or then just watching the YouTube video, because when you're listening to it, you can do something simultaneously. You could be just, walking your dog, you could be going outside, you could be running, you could be working out, you could be doing so many things, and it is just way more efficient to listen to it, and it is also way better for your mobile data, for your, I don't know what it's called. It's way better for your mobile data if you're just listening to the podcast, because just the data isn't as big as the YouTube videos. If you're on your mobile phone, if you're on the go and whatnot, then it is a way better thing for your mobile data as well. So yeah, because the podcast is usually beneath 100 megabytes, and the YouTube video is definitely, when I'm uploading it, which is a pretty funny thing, when I'm uploading it, the YouTube video is like just 4 gigabytes or 3 gigabytes, so it's relatively big, but when I'm then downloading it again, because I can also download my own videos, then they're only like 400 megabytes, but it's still quite a lot. It is still really a lot if you're streaming it on the go and whatnot. But yeah. As I said, I'm now featuring a TED article, and it is called Feeling Alone in the World? ? Here are 6 TED Talks to watch. And I kind of seen this yesterday as well, but I didn't really feel like going through it. But the question is, why am I feeling like going through it today? Because I was seeing it and I thought about those people that maybe even need it. So if you need it, you're welcome. Or something, no. But some people will need it, and some people will be interested in it, and some people will actually maybe be happy because there is an episode about this article. But as I said, this article is also going to be linked down in the description or in the show notes if you're on a podcast. So if I'm a little bit too slow, or if I'm just not really interesting enough, then please go down and check out the article on your own, so that you're maybe gonna feel better, or hopefully gonna feel better. And yeah. So, feeling alone in the world, here are 6 TED Talks to watch. Every human on the planet has experienced moments of loneliness and aloneness. Sometimes these feelings may blow through as quickly as a passing squall, but other times they linger like a fog that we can't quite see our way out of. No matter where you are in life, and no matter what your particular kind of blue, please know that you have got company. Here are 6 talks that your friends at TED have picked for you. I'm sorry for reading it so shitty. Today is not a really good reading day. Today is more like a talking day. But the thing is, everybody knows what it is like to just feel bad, because everybody felt bad once in their life because of something. Maybe because your girlfriend just broke up with you. Maybe because somebody died. Maybe because you're ill. Maybe because you're just having problems with mental illnesses, which is maybe definitely the case. But if it is the case, if you're struggling with mental illnesses, I would heavily suggest you to just see some or get some professional help, because most often this is just something pretty good and something that really also helps. Maybe there is some free hotline around in your place. There is some hotline in my place, so that you can actually get some some help there as well. But getting some professional help is definitely a pretty good option, if you're having some severe problems with your mental health, and also talking in general. I've seen, for myself, but I'm going to talk about this later on, like self-awareness is something really important. For me, talking to people seems to be really important, and also being surrounded by people. Not always, sometimes I also feel bad because there are so many people around me, and just because I just want to have time for myself, but I think this is definitely something that a lot of people see and know about themselves. But talking to people is something that's really important, and still it is also something that a lot of people are not doing because of various reasons, because they do not want to share what they are feeling, they do not want to show how they are feeling and all those things. But I would highly suggest you to do that. But yeah, let's actually talk about those TED videos. If you always feel like the odd one out, watch Lydia Yuknovich. Yeah. This talk is for the weirdos, the survivors, and the still recovering. Even if you never felt understood, author and self-proclaimed misfit Lydia blah 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 wants you to know that you are worthy and you're deserving of good things. Her talk is a love letter to anyone who struggles to feel like they belong. Even at the moment, which is a quote now, even at the moment of your failure, right then you are beautiful. You don't know it yet, but you have the ability to reinvent yourself endlessly, Lydia says. Your story deserves to be heard because you, rare and phenomenal misfit, I'm really sorry. You new species are the only one in the room who can tell the story the way only you would. Which is definitely the case. You're the only person that is seeing the world like you're seeing it. You are the only person. We are all individuals, which is something that's incredibly nice, because every story is going to be a different one. Every perception of the reality, quote unquote reality, is going to be a different one because we're all seeing the world differently. But the thing is, no matter how you're seeing the world, it is okay. Unless, it is always okay, but it is not always good because often our mind tricks us. Our mind is just telling us that some things seem to be like they are or seem to be the reality, even though it is not the reality. They are called cognitive distortions. They are relatively common, I would say, and they are quite often. You might be just having one as well, or you might have had some as well. I had some cognitive distortions? Probably, yeah. We're all thinking about those things. Like, okay, I failed at this test, or I failed to just get a woman or get a girlfriend once, and now I think that it is going to be the case forever. But it is definitely not the case. Only because you failed once doesn't really mean that you're always gonna fail. It really does not mean that it is going to be the case forever. It really doesn't mean that. It means that you just failed once. It means that this time, at this point of time, at this point of day, even at this time of day, at this day even, and it wasn't the right moment. It wasn't the right approach. Maybe you haven't looked just as nice as you could, and whatever. So there are so many variables that play into yes or no or win and lose, but it doesn't really mean that if you just lose once, that you're also going to lose forever. It really doesn't mean that. And if you kind of feel like, well, what is he talking about? I do not even feel that way. Some people do. And if you're feeling this way just once in your life, you will just know now. You will know that it is not the case. The next one is, if you don't have anyone to confide or convert in, watch Johnny Sun. Speaking openly about our feelings and fear can be petrifying and make us feel incredibly vulnerable and undefended. Or undefended, yeah. Instead of evading or hiding those feelings, writer and artist and Twitter fixture Johnny Sun thinks we should lean into our vulnerability and share our true selves with others. In a talk full of his illustrations, he shows how Twitter helped him understand the pain points of being a human being and discover the value of sharing his struggles with mental health and with imposter syndrome. And there's a quote again. Many of my closest friends are people that I met originally online, Johnny says. That's partly because there is this confessional nature to social media. It can feel like you are writing in this personal, intimate diary that's completely private, yet at the same time you want everyone in the world to read it. When someone shares that they feel sad or afraid or alone, for example, it actually makes me feel less alone, not by getting rid of any of my loneliness, but by showing me that I am not alone in feeling lonely. It's definitely the case. A lot of people right now at this point in time are feeling lonely or bad or just distracted or even stupid or even just dumb, maybe. And I've been talking about Johnny Sun actually before. I've been reading the original TED ideas.ted.com article as well. I've been featuring it, and it is pretty interesting. But it is also a pretty it is something that not a lot of people are going to do. Like, not everybody is going to just share all their secrets, all their vulnerabilities, and all those things in public, basically in public. But the thing is, making yourself vulnerable isn't even a bad thing. It's not even a bad thing, I gotta have to say that it might be even necessary so that people are actually able to connect with you and or to you. I'm actually often doing that. I'm often doing that somehow. Is it because I just want to share what I'm feeling, what I'm seeing, and whatnot? But I'm relatively often doing that. But I guess just making yourself vulnerable isn't such a bad thing. A lot of, I think especially men think about it as just it being a bad thing and you shouldn't be doing it and whatnot because they want to be the hard guy, the tough guy, the whatnot. But it's not. Like, being vulnerable to some people is definitely not a bad thing. The next one. If your heart is broken, watch Guy Winch. There is no reason to sugarcoat it. A broken heart hurts like hell. Yet, we don't always take the unique emotional pain of heartbreak as seriously as we should. Psychologist Guy Winch has some realistic advice on how you can heal and start to move on with your life. When your heart is broken, the same instincts you ordinarily rely on will time and again lead... Wait a second, I'm gonna read it again. So when your heart is broken, the same instincts you ordinarily rely on will time and again lead you down the wrong path. You simply cannot trust what your mind is telling you, Guy says. Getting over heartbreak is not a journey. It is a fight, and your reason is your strongest weapon. Heartbreak and being heartbroken is just such a shitty thing. I've been experiencing it as well, just really severely, I think actually 2 times, isn't it? Well, three times, something like that. And it never ever felt good. But I kind of feel like that every time it happened, I've learned something. And every time that I've been just dealing with somebody, I've also learned something about myself. It is always the case that I guess in every relationship that you might be in, you're always going to learn about something, or you're always going to learn something about yourself. Whether it's going to be something that you're proud of or not, just doesn't matter now. You're learning something about yourself, something that's going to help you on your life path from this point on. And often it is not even bad, that you broke up with this particular person, even though you thought that it just was the best person and the nicest and something. You thought something, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the case, Who knows what could have happened, but it is what it is now. It really is what it is now. If you've just, broken up with your girlfriend or boyfriend, then I gotta have to say, life goes on. Life just goes on. And dwelling about it and just feeling really sad about it, it's okay and it is fine. But it is nothing that actually makes you feel better. It's actually kind of the opposite. It's going to make you feel bad. It's going to make you feel sad. It's not really going to help you. It's not really going to help you to cope with whatever you're feeling at this point in time. So I don't know. Live your life on. It's going to be better soon. It always will. And it always is like, it's like the economy. Sometimes the economy is bad, sometimes the economy is good. And just in some periods of time, in some periods of years or decades, the economy is just really fucking great. And then sometimes, in some periods of time, the economy is really fucked up and shitty. But that's it, we just have to go through it. The next one. If you are grieving, watch Nora McInerney, something like that, I guess. Losing a loved one is a brutal experience that forever changes our lives. It's strange, confusing, and unpredictable. Listening to Nora McInerney on grief is like hearing from a brutally honest, wickedly funny friend on the topic. She will tell you about feeling visceral rage. Yeah, it's rage. At the sight of happy old couples and being really attracted to the property brothers. And she will leave you feeling understood and maybe even hopeful. You just make sure bring tissues. Okay. Grief is one of those things, like falling in love or having a baby or watching The Wire on HBO, where you don't get it until you get it, until you do it. Nora says, you understand what you're experiencing is not a moment in time. It is not a bone that will reset, but that you have been touched by something chronic, something incurable. It is not fatal, but sometimes grief feels like it could be. I guess so. It is something that I have been thinking about lately as well, because of reasons. And I gotta have to say it is something really, really, really strange and weird, because this person is not gonna be there any longer. And it feels so weird, On one day you can just remember it, you know this person, or you knew this person, or you were talking to this person, and then suddenly this person isn't there any longer. Suddenly. It's just what it is. And it just really is a fucked up and shitty thing. It really, truly is. And I understand all the people that are feeling really bad and really grievy, I guess, because they lost a loved one. And I gotta say, you're also not alone there. A lot of people are losing their loved ones, and I would, in general, highly suggest to just, reach out to people, or just go to certain blogs, or watch this TED Talk, or just read some articles on it, or just maybe actually getting in touch with the community of people that just have lost somebody, because I guess you're going to feel understood, and you're going to see that you're not the only one. The next one. If you just really want to be in your feelings, watch Luke Siddle sing, whatever. Sometimes we just need to cry it out to a beautiful sad song, or maybe two, and it just so happens that singer-songwriter Luke Siddle specializes in those. In a talk between performances of his music, Luke says, songs that sing of sorrow or grief, of longing, of the darker side of love, the underside of being alive, these are the songs I just never tire of hearing, and I never tire of writing, because they make me feel less alone. Which is something beautiful. But I gotta have to say, doing it on purpose, always listening to sad songs, always listening to things that make you rage, that make you feel bad, that make you feel sad, it's not a good thing, and you should totally not be doing that, because it doesn't make any fucking sense. You should be listening to music that's either neutral or positive, unless you actually kind of feel like you have to cry and you want to just have something negative, which is something that I feel as well. I really feel it as well, but I'm consciously deciding to listen to positive shit, because I'm not really willing to just consume a lot of negativity, because this will lead me to be negative, and I do not want to be negative. I want to be positive and also optimistic, and I want to see the good sides in life. And when I'm only consuming things, and music is something that really goes into your subconscious fucking mind. It is just really something that can severely change things. If I'm only just in general consuming, it could also be Netflix series that are sad, music, articles, everything that you're consuming basically. Also the people that you're talking to, by the way. If you're only consuming those things, of course, you're gonna get negative. And of course, you're gonna get sad and whatever, because you're only surrounding yourself with sad things and bad things. Well, not really bad things, but sad things. The next one, which is actually the last one. If you need some help making new friends, watch Q Stark. Writer and teacher Q Stark is obsessed with talking to strangers. Yes, really. And she thinks we should break out of our cells or shells once in a while to enjoy these feelings or these fleeting moments of connection. She tells us how we can turn occasional chats with strangers into a regular practice, adding a little solidarity to our often solitary routines. When you talk to strangers, which is the quote now, when you talk to strangers, you're making beautiful interruptions into the expected narrative of your daily life and theirs. You're making unexpected connections, Q says. It is really the case, you're definitely gonna just change some things up. You're definitely going to do something unexpected for them and also for yourself. And I'm just thinking if I should actually go through some Quora questions right now, but I do kind of feel like that I'm willing to end this episode there, because it's relatively quick, it's easy to consume, it's good, it's not too long, it's quite fine. With that being said, this is going to be the end of the episode. If you're willing to ask me some questions, please hit me up on the social media pages and or sites and or accounts that are going to be linked down in the description and also in the show notes if you're on the podcast. I will respond. Just write me, just text me. I'm going to see it. The best thing or the best platform actually is Twitter and Instagram. I'm not really often on Snapchat, and also LinkedIn or TikTok if you're willing to do that. But yeah, I wish you the best health, happiness, and also success. And I also hope that you're going to ask yourself, or you're going to think about your legacy as well, which means that, for example, being nice and then being remembered as a nice person, which is something that can happen and something that will happen, but not everybody is going to like you, because we're so many people, the chance is way too high that there is somebody just that's, I don't know, there has to be somebody that dislikes you or even maybe hates you. But 3 other questions that I hope that you're going to ask yourself are, why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? So what is pissing you off immersively or immensely? Those 3 questions are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even going to show you a new business idea for you, and or just some ideas in general. Because often it has been the case that businesses started with fixing something and finding a solution for something. And there's still a lot of things that have to be fixed, and there's still a lot of solutions that we need for certain things. But with that being said, I wish you're feeling good, I wish you're feeling better, and if there's something else that you want to ask and talk about, just hit me up on social media. Also, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and also to the podcast if you want to and if you've liked, and I'm going to see you the next time, hopefully.